Okay, hey everybody. This is what we call the THD Podcast. So today we wanted to talk with Simon in Japan about using the Zoomy to test the drivers. Now, these drivers are specific in that they're developed by a company called VM Sound based in Taipei, and they use a technology called liquid silicon rubber to design the surround. So maybe let's just explain quickly what the technology behind VM Sound is. So it's designing the surround in 3 dimensions, and that's unique, but also to do it at thin profile and form the surround and bond it to the dome diaphragm in the center and the frame in one shot. So it kind of increases the uniformity in production and increases the performance of the speakers overall. So today what we wanted to do is take that to task and show you guys, like, let's put our money where our mouth is, and we'll compare the VM Sound drivers to some standard drivers.
I'll just cut in there. And so this is one of them. I guess you've already seen it, Dave, in detail. That comes out pretty good. So you've actually got this flexible surround, which is the key difference to your traditional driver, headphone drive, which looks like that. And if you can see, it's made out of one piece of mylar, and they just heat press that to form the shape out of a film, and then just glue that directly onto the edge. So you probably know, most people are familiar with a traditional loudspeaker where you have the cone and then you have a surround on that. And if you look at a bass speaker pumping, the whole thing moves in and out. For headphone drivers, they do it slightly differently. Because the amount of movement is so tiny, you don't really need that surround, or that being a good solution is to not actually have a flexible surround. So that, let me see if I can get a nice angle on there. Is that can just move in and out quite freely, and it's the edge of it is its own suspension essentially. But these guys have gone and put a surround on it. So this is always possible, I guess, but having the technology to inject that as an extremely thin membrane.
Yeah. Well, one of the challenges. One of the challenges, Simon, and I have another one here that you're holding.
Oh, you got the same one, yeah?
Yeah, so trying to bond and glue such tiny parts together is the real challenge. So liquid silicon rubber in larger speakers is not such a great advantage because the weight affecting sensitivity isn't so severe for such a larger piece. When you come into smaller pieces, changing the amount of glue or other imperfections in that gluing process create problems in production yield and consistency.
Yep. So I got a problem anyway. We're going to test them with the driver tester here. I'll do it anyway. But turns out that those are slightly. It's actually 2 issues. Let me just plug that in. It's 2 issues. So I'm not going to be able to test it right now. We'll have to do it next time properly. Let me just power that on. Just ran into. I need to make a new coupler just for this driver, because the way it's designed, that I was trying to get the angle, that surround. I'll move it so you get a white background. That actually protrudes slightly forward of the frame, the plastic frame, and this has a flat surface. So when I put it into the driver, I actually crush that surround and, of course, ruin the whole point of the measurement. But anyway, we'll just give it a whirl. So
yeah, in the worst case, you can at least show the people how easy it is to run a test on the Zoom.
Yeah. So, of course, you'd be making these couplers reasonably kind of driver specific, let's say. So it happens that this one would fit a lot of 40 millimeter drivers, but this one, that just because of the design, it's actually protruding forward. You'd have to make like a little ledge just to sit on the edge of that frame and not crush the surround, which is, of course, the key point of the whole thing.
Yeah.
We'll grab a curve off that anyway. Just get a decent contact. And just grab a hold on that. So, yeah. The second problem that I encountered actually is that the diameter is slightly over the 40 millimeters. And so this this coupler, or call it the fitting, is made for things that they're right on the 40 millimeters, or 40.2 kind of thing, and this would be a little bit larger. So I have to really sort of crush it to get it to sit in, and it doesn't really sit nicely. So I've got 2 fingers on the go.
Okay, but that kind of demonstrates.
So there's a curve off that one, and just for
Simon,
for the sake of it. Yeah,
Simon, let me cut in. So that kind of demonstrates like the service level for a customer. So if somebody wanted a driver tester, we would actually fab it specifically for their drivers. So this 0.2 variance that we see today, that would not exist if somebody ordered a system with certain couplers to match the drivers that they're going to be testing. And of course, we could offer the service from Zoomy to make new couplers at any time, should they have a driver tester at their facility.
Yeah, exactly. And you just machine up the parts to fit nicely each time. You can try and do these one size fits all thing, but you run into these sort of problems exactly where that model specifically is slightly different. So if you were building a headphone with this, of course, you just get those dimensions and make your headphone mounting the driver baffle to suit that exactly. But so there's a more standard driver. So basically, the measurement doesn't show what you want to show, because this one is moving very freely and the other one's crushed against the seating. So there we go. Can't really say anything about that, unfortunately. That's what we have for that one. So we won't waste too much time on that, because we can't really get any information out of it. So I got a bunch of samples. I got a few different samples from these guys.
Okay.
They also sent some other interesting things. Okay, 40 millimeter drivers, beautiful, and I
think it's a Nomex diaphragm.
Looks like it. Yep. I haven't built these into a headphone yet, which I'm planning to do very shortly, because I think it's got good looking characteristics overall. So that will be very interesting. But they're also doing some really small, let's see if we get a focus on that, some small earphone type ones. So these are these ones. Let's see, what is it? Probably.
It's a 13.
Do you know the codes?
It's a 13.4. So these are actually really popular with the AirPod type products. So I believe the AirPod is a 12.5. So in fact, VM has the 13.4, and they also have a new 12.5 millimeter design, and those are popular in the, as I say, AirPod type products.
Actually, I'll come back to that one, because I've got this other unit going. So I also got some even smaller ones. What have I got there? I think it's 9 and probably 7. Yeah, I'm guessing you know the codes, but I'm not sure.
7 millimeter, and there's 9.2, and there's even a brand new 6 millimeter, which you don't have there today, but it's been prototyped at 6 mil.
Yep. So this actually have built up something with this 7. So it's somebody else's project. They're going to use it for a true wireless stereo earbuds with feed forward noise cancelling. So that's kind of interesting for me. So not just a passive headset. There's other characteristics, and so that's the little beauties there. And I think they have a metal diaphragm.
It should be magnesium aluminum alloy.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So can you discuss a bit, Simon, why? And I could probably add a bit as well, a bit of color onto why this technology is utility for ANC headphones. I know it from the fact that they're consistent in production, so it kind of helps set the boundaries of the tuning, is what I understand. But maybe
So I'm looking at two characteristics. One would be the consistency of the drivers over a production lot. Just so when you design your ANC system and you come up with a filter, it is actually working for all the products rather than things shifting around quite a bit. And the other one is having a flexible surround. You have the potential to get more bass, essentially, or more movement without distortion at low frequency. So that's one of your limitations for really small drivers, especially if you're driving, in small earphones. You're trying to deliver noise cancelling. Let's say you've got a low frequency sound coming in. You need to create the anti-wave of that, and that might be quite a large amplitude sound. So more so than you might listen to with music. So you want to get a large amplitude of movement with low distortion in order to cancel that type of thing. So these are just an in-progress thing. Won't sort of show too much, but this is developing the feed-forward noise cancelling with that 7mm in it. Somebody's project, and so to start off, because I've got looking at the frequency response from that. So this is just a frequency response, actually driven as a headphone. And I had to listen to it and I really liked it, actually. Slightly bright in sort of 4-5K region.
Okay.
But that's really a personal taste thing. I like things to be a little bit more subdued there. So for this one, I'd probably just EQ that down a little bit. And so I don't mind doing that because you can always EQ down, but if you haven't got the level there, you can't really boost with this type of thing. So we're okay to EQ it down, but we can't really boost. And the low frequency, just as we expected, is quite powerful and deep, actually, for such a small driver. So you can actually get a similar effect from other earphones. I have something on hand, but if you make the front chamber completely sealed, so you generally have a small leakage hole with some paper over it in the front chamber. Yeah. So you can use that as low frequency tuning, but if you wanted maximum bass, you just seal that off completely, and you have like a sealed little box, a sealed cylinder, which is your air canal with the driver pumping into it, and you have no sound leakage. So it's like a bicycle pump where you've just blocked the end. You just put as much pressure in as you want, but of course that means, for one, it's very uncomfortable if you wear that and move around or move your jaw, because you've just got this locked body of air there. It's very uncomfortable. And also for feed-forward noise cancelling, you can do it, but it works a bit better if you have some of that external noise coming through that front port into the chamber. So it's to do with the phase response of that external noise, basically. And then you get an easier to realize feed-forward filter. You can get better performance that way, typically. Okay, so the point of rambling on about that is that I've got a very small driver and I've got quite a bit of front side leakage, let's say.
Okay.
So it's comfortable and it will work really well for noise cancelling, but I've still got tons of bass all the way down, down to the low frequencies. So that's excellent. That characteristic. I'll just stop that one for a sec because I was playing with another one, sort of a crazy idea. Let's see if we can grab that. These are all mocked up bits and pieces that are in development at the moment, right? It's fairly new stuff. So I don't have a finished goods sample. These are all things that I've just been playing with. So I put those big 13mm drivers into these housings. Okay. So, and then like an insert earbud, 13mm is a huge driver these days, Right. Everything's going down to...
Yeah, I think most of the brands for the in-ear, like a Jaybird, they're at 5.8mm. I think it's the most popular size in earbuds. So,
if you're into cars, there's no replacement for displacement, and that's true of audio too. Bigger is better, in my opinion, anyway. But of course, you have just the use case difficulties. If you have a very tiny driver, you can get a smaller housing or whatever. But I don't know. So let's have a look at these, because these had quite an interesting characteristic too. I don't want to undo. I'll undo the bunch of wires, so it can actually fit. You can't really see any of that, actually, can you? Never mind.
No, that's okay.
So again, just the frequency response of this one.
Wow.
Now, what's interesting for this is I have to turn the level down because the sensitivity is so high. It's super loud. There we go. That's clean. It cleaned the curve up, basically. Now then, what we've got in this case is just by itself, it actually doesn't sound very good because you have just a steady roll off to the high frequency, so it's quite dull. But what I'm seeing when I look at it is say, you know what, that's incredibly smooth. And if I take a look at the measurements for noise cancelling and find out what filter is required for this. So you have a target filter essentially you can measure. it's extremely flat, and that means it's very easy to make that filter for a very wide bandwidth, and you can get a huge amount of noise cancelling. Then you say, well, you know what? I've got all the EQ under the sun these days on all the chips, so I can just take a big chunk out of there and have an enormous bass, flat mids, good highs, and really substantial noise cancellation with this type of a thing. It's sort of an unorthodox approach, but yeah, I can see this type of curve shape really says is very suitable anyway to make a active noise cancellation system. It's not great just like that for audio, but you can just manipulate that response electronically to fix up the audio, because as long as you're cutting bits out, you can go to town more or less.
Right.
If you have to add sound, it's very hard to do with EQs because you just run out of gain limit essentially.
Sure.
So that's an interesting one that is that's ongoing. So that's that 13 millimeter unit. Any questions?
No, I think it's quite interesting to understand like the advantages of this technology, and also for people watching along, just how quickly you're able to switch from one headphone to the other in testing. Now, a little bit of dialogue perhaps on like, if somebody had those two different types of headphones with another test system, how much time might be involved in the guy switching to do that test? Like if somebody had some samples from a factory in China at their desk in California, like just switching between those with another type of system, what kind of problems would they run into, or kind of challenges, just to quickly get an understanding on the performance of the headphone?
Yeah, well, that is one of the things is that sort of use case where it's just really fast and easy to use and very convenient. So, I mean, I've done a lot of stuff with various other test systems, and there's this whole game of trot off to the lab or the chamber and load the headphone and go start up the computer, and there's this whole chain of things you have to go through, quite a rigmarole just to make a simple measurement, and that's what we wanted to do in the end. And so kind of just eliminated all of that, and you just have a simple and easy to use desktop or benchtop unit that gets you through all of that sort of nonsense. So I'm actually just going to measure quickly the ANC characteristics of this one.
Okay.
And there's the frequency response that we were looking at before. Probably a little bit hot on the level, doesn't matter. When you zoom in, of course, things look very up and down, but it's actually a pretty good response. And I just want to jump over to what I'll do quickly is, if you don't mind, what was it? It's the right. I'll just disable the left. Just look at that one side. And noise spectrums, ideal filter. What happened to that? I know. Sorry, I just wanted to get rid of the one channel that I'm not using, which was actually the left, which I think is that one. I'll switch that off quickly. Never mind. Okay, here we go. So the orange curve is actually the feed-forward filter that you want to create. Okay, so if you know much about filters, a smooth path is quite a good thing, easy to follow. So the blue one actually is the opposite side. I'm not worried about that at the moment. Just look at the orange curve. Okay. And so we've actually got something that is a very easy filter to generate either digitally or with analog. So it's trending to 0 at the low frequency and then just rolls off. And I'll just pull up the phase too. So the phase is doing something fairly regular as well across that range that you're interested in. So what that means anyway is we've got something that is easy, let's say. I use the word easy to make a feed-forward filter for. And that's a huge benefit. If you have a very complex function that you're trying to map, then you're just going to have more and more error stacking up. Mm-hmm. So what we've got at the moment is something that is giving an excellent audio response and is going to deliver excellent noise cancelling.
Okay. So it's
Maybe I
almost,
can just run through.
it almost kind of chimes into the old kind of saying of getting it right the first time. So starting with the fundamental pieces that are going to make your ANC easier in the end is a much better approach to the whole thing. I mean, it sounds pretty basic, but it's obvious. But a lot of people don't do that. They go for cheap drivers that cause them a lot of trouble, and then the whole system ends up being an issue and a lot of problems. So I guess it's the point is it's a good starting point with these drivers.
Yep, that's absolutely right. So they're very small drivers, like a 5mm. It sounds great because they say, "Oh, excellent! I can pack this into a tiny housing," but you can't get the same performance as you can. I mean, the performance of that driver dictates finally what you can do with ANC. So very small, cheap stuff. It's just, it's not like you can just add ANC to anything and it works. The whole system has to be cohesive. You have to have the right acoustics.
Right.
Basically, yeah.
Okay. Anything else that we should demonstrate with the Zoomy related to this liquid silicon rubber surround technology?
I think just for the moment we can leave it there and keep it in smaller chunks.
Sure. Okay. All right. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching. If you please subscribe to this little channel, and we're doing these updates. We're trying once a week, different topics related to audio and headphones altogether. So I'm Dave, and Simon's in Japan. So thanks.
All right.
Everybody. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks.